Okay, so that brings me to my question, and that is how, because I got the impression that you thought that I was being condescending toward channeling, and I'm not. Thank God for for what Esther does. However, there wasn't.
We didn't feel that, but what were your words that we bounced off from? Can you remember?
Well, you bounce off of my vibration, apparently, not my words. I don't know what my words were, though.
The reason that we jumped on that is because it was such a good opportunity to say in yet another way today something that we have been saying more clearly today than any other day about this range of vibration and the choices you have in where you light on this range. In other words, this life experience which is causing problems to come into focus, which causes solutions to come into focus. Everyone has a choice of where they light, what set point they choose, what expectation they hone in that range. And what we took this opportunity to say, that when you're really in the vortex, you have the fullness of who you really are flowing through you in this moment, and that is the best definition of channeling that we have ever heard.
Okay, and I'm totally hearing that. There was a gentleman who had asked on the Alaskan cruise sort of a similar question: how do I be my own Abraham? And I guess another way to put it is, how do I be connected to infinite intelligence and be in the vortex? Basically, that's the answer. However, your answer at that time was, sometimes when you get the answer, you don't hear the answer because you're in it. And I've discovered that I'm really good at this point, because I've studied this stuff intensely for about 3 years now, and it's paid off. And I guess the singing was so motivating for it, because I started to see the results from that, so it egged me on to do more. But my point is that I am really good at being in it and being aware of the answer. And that's why I don't want to channel, because channeling to me sounds like I'm not really connected, and I might... Like, I wonder, here's the way to ask it. Does Esther remember everything that she says right now, or does she have to go back and listen to the tape? Because I don't have to listen to the tape.
She doesn't remember everything.
Okay.
But most of you don't either. And because...
That's a good point.
Because it's happening in real time. In other words, that's one of the things that we were talking about earlier. As together we come to the place where more and more of you are in the vortex, so that everything that we're saying just makes perfect sense. Most people, including Esther, don't maintain that level of absence of resistance, and so the clarity fades as the resistance returns.
Okay. All right.
So in this moment in time, Esther's crystal clear. There's no resistance in her vibration at all. And it's true of many of you too. No resistance. So this is all making so much sense. But then as you get back into your normal routine and you worry about the normal things you worry about, and you reclaim your perspective of more resistance, then you remember less and less. Esther always enjoys when they leave this gathering, and Jerry, who is taking notes, he's taking timed notes, he's keeping track because he's going to do editing of it later and so forth, as he will discuss with Esther some of the different things that happened in the seminar. Esther can feel the clarity of the seminar return to the point that she can almost speak the words right along with the recording.
Without channeling?
Well,
I see. I'm starting to get it. You're not making a distinction in a way.
Because she tunes into the vibration, and that's what tuning into that vibration is. In other words, the absence of resistance is the presence of the fullness of who you are, and that is all that channeling is. So what we're really talking about are levels of resistance, because if it were not for resistance, everyone would be seeing the world through the eyes of Source.
Okay, then maybe I have a false presence. And here would be my analogy, like Giuseppe Verdi, or Mozart, or any of the composers who are like gods, basically, because it's like, how can a human being come out with something that gorgeous. They had to have been in complete alignment, and yet I'm sure they weren't like with their pen going like, and and just in sort
That's
of.
That's not what you see here either.
No, you're right. And yet when I think of, except for maybe this.
Just that part.
How do you say? Okay. So, say I shouldn't joke around. I'm going to lose my focus.
Well, you said something that we want to go back to that is really an important point that you were making about you want to be in it.
Right, and hear the solution and not be disembodied
and you were
disconnected.
You were talking about the person on the Alaskan cruise where our answer was, bring it back to that point of your query.
Your answer... He wanted to be connected to infinite intelligence more, and his way of doing it was writing. And from what I'm understanding, your way of doing it, or Esther's way, is channeling. And what I'm interested in is I just want to be in like that in everyday life.
Well, the reason that we gave this person on that in that situation the answer that we did is because... And it's true of almost everyone, and you may even recognize it in yourself, that oftentimes, in fact, frequently, you notice your relationship with what you want by the negative emotion that you feel as you are offering a vibration in opposition to it. For example, when we say, think about what you want, we mean think about your desire and try to find the pure vibration that is in your vortex. But many people, when they think of something that they desire, they feel a yearning for it that indicates their desire for it. Now, we said earlier today that everything is relative, that there's this relativity. So what happens as you take step one and know what you don't want and throw that request into the vortex, and source answers it and becomes it, which is step two, as you release resistance and come into the vortex where there's no resistance, you allow the fullness of what you've been asking for. And you cannot be a vibrational match to your need and the fulfillment of the need at the same time. You can't be a match to the problem and the solution at the same time. In other words, you're offering a vibration that is problem-oriented or solution-oriented. So when you say, I don't want to lose my awareness of my question.
As I'm asking it,
as
the answer's coming to me.
I don't want to lose my awareness of my need as it's being fulfilled. We say it's inevitable. You have to, because you can't be a vibrational match to the solution and the problem at the same time.
Okay.
And being a vibrational match to the solution is, in your terms, that channeling of the fullness of who you are. Are you getting this?
Yes.
And so a lot of people, it's like someone has said to us, well, we were trying to get someone to talk about what they really wanted. And she couldn't come up with anything, so we started naming a few things that we know she wants. And she says, oh, Abraham, I don't want those things. I already have those things. And what she was saying is, I think that wanting is about that yearning, that unfulfilled yearning. And there's something human in you that makes you sort of want to cling to that unfulfilled part, but it holds you back. And that's I want to be present in the moment of it that we were hearing from you. That's the best way of describing that back to you. And we want to say, sure you do. You want some of that. You want some step one experiences. But what you really are working at is alignment, step three, alignment in the vortex. And you'll get hooked on it, because that's when life is fully who you are. But here's the piece we think you're reaching for. This is really an amazing leading edge conversation that we're having and about to have. What you're trying to say to us, and we've got to give it to you fully because it's exactly right on. What you're saying is, I really think that what I enjoy is being a little out of alignment and coming into alignment.
Yes.
I really think that's where my juices really flow the best. And we stand in alignment. We're really sort of placid in our chronic joy, you know. We're really sort of boring in our chronic knowing, in our chronic well-being. But you all, because you're playing both sides of this, you have that intoxicating experience of being out of the vortex and then feeling the thrill of moving in. And that's what makes you feel alive and present. It's what makes you. And so what you're saying is, I don't want to be an Abraham where I don't get to feel that movement. And we say, precisely, that's why you are here as a physical being, moving into that energy, getting to feel the satisfaction. It would be a really sort of good analogy is, you wouldn't want to always be so full that you never felt hunger, because if you never felt hunger, you would never really savor food in the way that you do. There's something wonderful about being a little hungry and then eating, and it's better than that day you went to 3 Thanksgiving dinners. You know it is.
Okay, so I guess my new question would be then, I do want to be, and I'm getting there, extremely adept at moving back in.
Well, then,
because I don't want to have to come to, and I'm going to be a little negative for a second just to make a point. I don't want to have to come to an Abraham workshop to get my questions answered, because there's just going to be another question. I want to be the source of my own answers.
Not only that, but the answers that come directly to you through the attraction of your own life experience are infinitely more satisfying than the ones that are translated through Esther into your ears.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it is very satisfying to sing the way that I can when I couldn't for so many years.
Absolutely. Good for you. It is so wonderful to stand in a place less than what I want and to define an improved desire, and then to consciously move myself vibrationally to the receiving of it. Life doesn't get any better than that, and it's what you all came to experience again and again. And did you come because the world needs another song or another singer? No, you came for the sensation of that.